Hi everybody. Okay, so for this session you're going to need a couple of blocks, or even if you have 4 blocks then grab 4 blocks, and ideally a chair, or we're going to be using the wall a little bit as well, and your belt you're going to need. So grab all your yoga equipment and everything and we'll get ourselves started. So if you want to, just to begin with, bring yourself just to sitting, just so we can get ourselves established in our practice. Now, today's session is going to be about grounding. So it's the beginning of a new year, so it's a really nice time just to start, just to establish what we kind of want out of our year and out of our lives. So in order to do that, in order to plan anything, we need to kind of set our foundations. We need to ground ourselves. If you think of yourself like a tree, when a tree plants its roots down, the further it can kind of plant down, then the stronger it's going to be able to grow up tall. So same with us. Right then, so we're sat nice little cross-legged, so in Sukhasana, so an easy cross-legged. If that's painful, then just place some blocks underneath your legs. Just rolling out with the shoulders a few times, just to get ourselves a little bit more loosened up. So today's is going to be an Iyengar Inspired practice. So static poses in this one. Place your hands down onto your legs. And just bring your chin right in towards your chest for a moment, just to get the length along the back of the neck. And then let the head just float back up so the chin is on a plane with the floor. Close your eyes. And take a moment just to see how you feel. So seeing what you brought with yourself to the mat. So how you feel physically, how you feel mentally, emotionally. If there is any concerns, any injuries or anything that you have going on, then just obviously registering those and being respectful of those. And then bring your attention just onto your breathing. Notice how you're breathing. Is it laboured? Do you feel as if you're panting? Or is it smooth, calm and relaxed? The more we pay attention to our breathing, the smoother it becomes. Now, once we feel that there's a connection between the body and the mind, so the breath moving in harmony with the body, and this is a time then just to start our practice. So bringing your palms together. Bring your thumbs in towards the breastbone. Think about your intention. Think about what it is that brings you to the mat. What is it that you're looking for? Also take a little bit of time just to think again about that grounding and your firm foundations. In our minds, we're going to have the mantra of I am. Now the words can be followed with strong, stable. If you want to, I am a warrior. So anything that's going to help you establish your footing in your practice. So I am. And then bringing your thumbs up just to the space between your eyes, to the Ajna chakra. Now, center for intuition, our inner knowledge and wisdom. And taking the hands up over the crown. So your intention is then out there. And drawing the hands back down towards your heart center. And releasing the hands down to the legs. Blink the eyes open. Give the shoulders again just a little bit of a roll. So we can again keep the chest lifted. Think about your connection with your bottom down onto the block or onto the floor, and your connection with the legs and the feet down onto your mat. I'm going to start just to bring our hands forward. I'm going to just turn myself around now so you'll be able to see better. So if we can tuck our legs in or feet in just a little bit more, bring your hands down onto the floor in front. Start to walk or slide the hands forward, keeping the bottom heading back towards the block. Keep the arms stretching forward and the head moving down. Take a few moments here just to feel the stretch out moving from the lower back to the sides of the body, the armpit skin, down the arms, right through to the fingers, really spreading those fingers out. And then we can walk over to the right hand side. Again, keeping the bottom firmly moving back. Feel the stretch through the left hand side. Take a few breaths. And then over to the left hand side. Again, a few breaths. And moving back to the center. Just let the belly be soft. Just focus on the stretch out. Just feeling that through the torso. Again, bottom heading back. And then walk the feet back up. Okay. Oh, the hands back up, sorry. Bring yourself forward onto your hands and knees. So you can just move your block just out of the way for a moment. Tuck the toes under and then sit back right onto the toes. So weight of the bottom pushing down onto the feet pushing down into the ground. Take your hands forward, interlock the fingers and turning the hands over. And taking the arms up over the head. Take a few breaths. While we're taking these breaths, we're focusing on the feet pushing down, the bottom heading down towards the feet. We're squeezing back through the belly. We're lifting the chest, stretching up through your arms, right up towards the palms. And then bringing the hands forward. Turn the hands over. And then if we relax our feet this time, sit back onto your heels. Hands were turned over, so change the interlock. Turning the hands back over. Again, keep the tops of the feet pressing down. Bottom heading back down into the feet. We're tucking that tailbone under so we're not overarching the back. Keep it right down. Keep the belly squeezing in, chest lifting as you raise your arms. And then turning the hands back over, bringing the hands down. So placing your hands down just a little way in front, come up onto your hands and knees. Tuck the toes under, take the bottom back just a little way, keep scooping back through your belly, lift the knees and then slowly start to straighten out. So up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. We're just going to pedal out a little bit here with the feet, just to be able to get the toes to move, the ankles to move, the knees start to loosen out a little bit. We can start just to feel as if we can swagger a little bit over from side to side. And the whole time keeping the fingers nicely stretched out, push away from the wrists so we've got the arms drawing back And we can really start to get the chest head back towards the legs. Hips up as high as you can. Keep the belly scooping back as much as you can, working the heels back to the wall behind. Let the head fully release. So you might want to just give the head a little bit of a nod, yes. A little bit of a shake, no. A horse impression. Just flubbering the lips just to relax the face. Make sure that we still feel as if these tops of the arms are rolling in, so we have that set upright on the shoulder girdle. Okay, so from here we're going to lift up with our right leg. Take the leg up nice and high. Remember not to swing into the back as you're lifting that leg. You're going to look forward up between the hands. We're going to bring that foot forward up where the right hand is. Okay, once it's there, so we're into just a low lunge, so the back knee is going down, holding here, so just fingertips to the floor, keeping the back toes tucked under, reach the chest up a little bit more. So feeling the stretch out through the right at the top, the hip flexor on your left hand side. Okay, and then we can straighten out to the back leg, taking your right leg back. Again, get that establishment in your Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Feel the grounding, so your feet firmly pushing down, hands firmly pushing down. Keep that belly scooping back in order to keep the hips up as high as we can. Okay, left foot. Take the leg up nice and high. And then looking forward, and then charge that foot forward. So once it's there, we bring that back knee down. Keep the toes tucked, hands pushing down into the mat as we lift up. So looking forward, feeling this lovely stretch out through the hip flexor on your right hand side. And then we can push down with the hands, lifting that back knee off the floor, taking the left leg back, again back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Okay, we're going to start to walk the hands back. So bringing them back towards the feet. Now, if the back is a little bit tight here, just bend your knees. Otherwise, work to straighten the legs out as much as you can. Take hold of the creases just above your elbows. A good grip onto there, so it's not any kind of messing about. Really grab hold. And once you're holding there, then you can start just to draw down. So we feel, again, a little bit more of a stretch through the torso. Again, if your back is aching, bend your knees. Otherwise, keep the legs straight as you can. So remember, no knocking back on the knees. Let the thigh muscles work to pull up. This is what's going to help to lengthen out a little bit more as well through the hamstrings. Okay, so take a couple of breaths. And then release the hands down to the floor. Again, look forward. You're going to start to walk the hands, and we'll come back again into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So feet want to be about hip distance apart. Come right up onto your toes. Sink the chest back towards the legs, scooping the belly, drawing up on the legs as you sink your heels back. Again, you might want to just give the head a little bit of a nod, yes. A little bit of a shake, no. And again, horse impression. Okay, from here, come forward into your plank. Scoop your feet back just a little bit. Bring your knees down. Release your feet and slowly lower the body down. So from here, we're going to go into Bhujangasana. So in Bhujangasana, we're going to keep the lower part of your rib cage down onto the floor. We're just going to work it in just into a little lower one. Give the legs a little bit of an extra stretch back. Keep the tops of the feet and especially those big toenails pressing down. So hands are nicely just down, just by the sides, back level with the chest. Head is down. I'm going to inhale, just come up a little way. Again, just keep the lower part of the rib cage just down onto the floor. Keep the legs stretching back. Arms are moving back, so we keep the shoulders pulling back. and then releasing down. Okay, tuck the toes, back up onto hands and knees, and then up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So it should be starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in this pose now. You can start maybe to come up right up onto the toes, sink the chest back a little bit more. Hips are up to their highest point, and then working your heels back. Remember, keep the belly scooping back. It'll be easier to scoop back in this position. Keep a nice establishment of the hands pressing down, especially the base of the index finger and the thumbs. Okay, we're going into those low lunges again. So we're going to be lifting up with the right leg. Bring that leg forward, up between the hands. So place your left knee down. And we're just going to start now just to take that right leg over a little bit more, just to turn the foot out ever so slightly. So our hands are in on the inside. And then we can start just to sink that little bit lower if we can. If you feel okay with it, you can maybe just bring that back knee up off the floor. If it feels better just down with the knee down, then that's fine if you feel it's more stable. So this way, we're with the hand on the inside of the leg, we're starting to get that little bit lower down. Again, you can always have that back leg straight, just sinking down that little bit more, starting to open up, and the hip rotators, hip flexors, giving us a good full range. Okay, back knee going down, bring that foot back in, and straighten out in the back leg, front leg back. Back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana again. So always making sure that we feel our setup is right before moving on. So feel that establishment again, feet firmly rooted down, hands firmly rooted down, in order for us to work the rest of the body to lift it, to scoop the belly back, to lift the hips up as high as we can. Okay, left leg. So take the leg up, bring it forward. Once it's forward, back knee down, we can take that foot over a little bit more towards the left-hand side, hand in then on the inside. We can start to sink a little bit deeper maybe into it. And if it feels good, we can then start to lift the back knee up. Remember, you can always keep that knee on the floor if you want to. So depending on your range. So my left hand is on the inside and my left leg, it's really starting to work a little bit more now just to get into the hip rotator on that left-hand side. Hip flexor on my right side. Couple of breaths, that's all that's needed. Okay, and then it comes back in, and we can take that leg back. So back again into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And then walking the feet back in towards the hands. Head down. So fully into Uttanasana this time. Again, holding on to the elbows, just above the elbows, and easing down. Remember, bend your knees as much as you need to. And then release the hands down to the floor. Then we can bring the hands onto the hips. Press down, lifting up. Okay. Right, so Trikonasana. So we're going to be taking the legs out leg length apart. So remember, you can either jump or you can walk the legs apart. So bringing the hands up first of all. Inhale and jump. So good leg length apart. So from here, we're going to go over to the right-hand side first. So making sure that we turn in with that left foot, we're turning out with the whole of the right leg. Keep pulling back as much as you can. Plant that foot down. So keeping with the lift, zipping up through the front of the body, and then exhale as we glide over that right-hand side, bringing the hand down onto the leg. So when it's onto the leg, we can turn with the chest a little bit more, and we can take that top arm up. So we have 3 breaths here. That's 1, 2, 3. Push into the left foot, squeeze back through the belly, bring yourself all the way back up. Turn the feet back in, keeping the arms nice and strong, moving out to the sides. So we're going to turn in with the right foot, turning out with the left leg. Keeping the lift and exhale, gliding over to the side, bringing that hand down, top arm is reaching up. Again, make sure that you feel that establishment, the back foot pressing down, front foot is down, but the leg is pulling up. We're drawing back with this with the right hip. The left bum cheek should be tucking under. Okay, there's our 3 breaths. So push back into the right foot, squeeze back on your belly, come all the way back up. Turning the feet back in and then jumping the feet back together. And the hands come down. So roll the shoulders and we're back into Tadasana. Just take a breath there. Closing the eyes. And just bringing in those feelings, that energy moving around the body. Now in time for that just to settle and for the body to register. Okay, open the eyes. So we're going into Pasarito. So in Pasarito, we want to be long on the mat. You're going to use your 2 blocks. So if you place them just by the sides there, so the top edge, and we're going to have our right foot forward, left leg back. Now making sure that we don't feel as if we're on a tightrope with it. So just kind of as if your feet were straight and you've just taken kind of 1 back. So from here, make sure that your hips are level. Keep squeezing in, pulling back. Keep the lift up with the shoulders and then roll them back. Hands are still on my hips for now. I'm going to press down, keeping that lift. And now where my thumbs are going to help just to tip me forward. So they're pushing in. My fingers are pulling back. Now the whole time I'm pulling back a little bit more just on that right hip. So pulling back, then taking my hands forward and then reach them onto the blocks so I can get a nice long bit of length through my spine. Now again, feet firmly push down. So that back heel is down. And when it's down, I can pull that left hip forward. My right foot is down and I can pull that right hip back. With my hands pressing down into the blocks, which should feel as if they're pushing down into the mat, or into the earth, then we can start to lengthen out through the spine. So we're not worrying too much about getting head to the knee or anything like that. We're just creating that little bit of space. So again, just we're working on more kind of grounding, really feeling that you're establishing your place, your sense of I am. So lengthening. So using the floor to really work to lift up. Okay, bring your blocks in a little bit. Hands are going to go back onto the hips. We're going to inhale, lifting up, coming all the way back. Oh, coming all the way back up. So make sure that you really do feel a sense of pushing down, unlike me coming up on that bit there. So bring the feet back together. Again, just so we can just get Tadasana before we do the other side. So allow the feelings just to settle. And then taking your right foot back. So left foot is forward, right leg, left foot forward, right leg back. Make sure that your hips are level. So hands just onto your hips. Keep zipping it, pulling upwards. And the thumbs are in kind of on the top part of my bum cheek. Fingers are in just that crease at the top of the legs. So I'm going to inhale, lift up. Exhale, I'm going to help by tipping forward. Whole time, get that establishment. Your feet are working. So back heel is pushing down. That way I can get that hip to come forward. Front foot is down, but the leg muscles are pulling up to pull that hip back. From there, I bring my hands forward. So I'm holding onto the blocks. Again, I'm not worrying about kind of bringing my head to the knee. And my hands are pushing down into the blocks. If anything, lift yourself up a little bit, just to get a little bit more length going through the spine. And then you can start just to kind of stretch forward that little bit more. Again, we're not worrying about coming forward and over, creating space, length, rooting down, rising up. Your mantra of I am. And then to come up, bring the blocks back in, pushing down on that back foot as much as we can. Pull up on the front, inhale and come back up. And then step back in. I was a little bit steadier on that time, on that side. Press down, roll the shoulders back, pulling the arms down just for a moment, just closing your eyes. So we're back into Tadasana. And softly open the eyes. Okay, so Pasarito Padottanasana. So wide-legged forward bend. So in this one, I'm going to have the blocks and place them just in front. Okay, so they're there. I'm going to step my legs out a good wide stride. Now for this, I'm going to turn my big toes in slightly. So heels want to be out just a little bit more than the toes. Press your hands down just onto your hips. Let the chest lift up as much as you can. You push into the outer edges, but you also have a feeling of pulling the legs in together. So this is going to work to draw up. So Mula Bandha, that first lock in the body, we're working to pull up, to raise that energy. So feet pushing down, raising up, pulling the energy up towards the head. So hands just onto my hips like I did in the last pose. And my thumbs are behind because they're going to help to tip me forward. My little fingers are kind of near the crease at the top of my leg. So I'm pressing in, pressing down, lifting up. Then I'm starting to tip forward. Now I'm not tipping forward, kind of thinking of belly tipping forward. Coming forward, pelvis is tipping. My chest is moving forward, 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 forward. Legs are still pulling up. Pushing out to the outer edges, but also feeling as if the legs are pulling in together. Hands are onto the blocks, taking them a good way in front so we can get lots of length along the spine. Taking a few breaths here. Now the whole time, keep working into pulling up as much as you can on the legs. Is really going to help to take all the emphasis away from the knees. And when we have strong legs, then the rest of the body starts to follow a little bit easier. Now we can start just to bring those blocks down towards the floor, a little bit lower, fingers pressing down onto there. If you're maybe a good way down, you can bring your hands in, resting in. Just be careful that the weight's not rocking too far forward. Just keep it edging so it's even along the feet. If you are a really good way down, you might want to bring the hands back. So our hands are going to face with the back of the palms, the back of the hands facing up, and they're reaching through the legs. And I'm going to come back up again. So I'm going to bring my blocks back in, lift myself first of all just up onto there. Start to walk them in, so we'll come up a little bit higher. Really establish what's happening in the legs. Hands come onto the hips again, pressing in, lifting the head, lifting up and coming up. Okay, you've got to make sure that you're still in your top when you come up. And then we can just heel toe the feet back in, or you can jump the feet back together. Roll your shoulders back. Again, just for a moment, if it feels okay, you can always close your eyes and take those feelings from the pose. Feel the energy of the pose. Watch as you're breathing, just how the body starts to calm itself down, how it's starting to process that energy. And then softly, just blink the eyes open. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to be doing Chandrasana, so our half moon pose. I'm going to take 2 blocks and place them just near the top end of my mat. Legs are going to be out as far as you go out for Trikonasana, so leg length apart. So press down into the hands, roll your shoulders back, and then bringing the arms out to the sides. Turn in with your left foot. Keep that hip pulling back, turning out with the right leg. From here, we're going to Trikonasana. We inhale, lift, exhale, gliding over, bringing the hand down, and turning, looking up towards that top hand. Then turn, look down towards your big toe. Bend your knee. Place your hand. Now, ideally, the hand wants to be a foot in front of the little toe. We can either bunny hop or stride in, taking the weight onto your right leg as you then start to bring yourself up. So strong on the standing leg, push out with the back leg, rolling that top hip, rolling your torso so it's facing forward, one arm stretching down, one arm stretching up. Okay, if you feel okay with it, you can turn and look up towards that top hand. Focus on a smooth, steady breath. And then to come back down. Bend the leg. Place that foot back down. Back through Trikonasana. And then all the way back up. Turn the feet back in. Just bring your hands down just onto your hips for a moment. Just allow that energy that's moving around, just allow it to settle. Allow it to process. Okay, we'll move on to the other side. So moving your blocks across. And arms out to the side. So again, we're going to be going through Trikonasana. So turning in with your right foot, turning out with your left leg. Make sure the hip is pulling back. Make sure your chest and the whole of the front of the body is facing forward. The whole of that left leg rolled out to the side. We inhale, lift, exhale, sliding over, bringing the hand down. So we come down through a good Trikonasana. Looking down to the big toe, bend your knee, good deep bend. Hand a foot in front of your little toe. Transferring the weight, coming up. So strong on the standing leg, strong on that back leg. Turning the torso as much as we can. Looking up, if we can, towards that top hand if you want to. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, keep the attention on a nice smooth breath. Good, and then to come back down, bend the standing leg, placing that back foot down. Back through Trikonasana and then all the way back up. Turn the feet back in and either walk or jump the feet back together. And the hands come down. So roll your shoulders, close your eyes if you want to, take a few breaths. Bring your palms together in the Anjali Mudra. So hands come in, thumbs in towards the breastbone. Keep the breastbone lifting up towards the hands. Bring thoughts back of your intention, what it was that's brought you to the mat. Think about the mantra of I am. So I am strong, I am stable, I am grounded. And notice how it makes you feel. And then opening the eyes and releasing the hands down. Okay, so Vriksanasana, tree pose. You're going to use the wall for this one. So mainly because there is a balance, obviously, aspect of it, but I want you to focus more on being grounded. So we're going to be going to the right side first. So the right leg should be facing the wall. If I move myself to here, that's probably better. So right hand is onto the wall and near enough to the wall where you can slide your hand up and down onto it. So establish a good, strong, firm foundation. Spread your toes and then placing your feet firmly down on the ground. Get the legs to pull up, to draw up. Really feel that pulling up through the rest of the body. Then without a shift of the hips, loosen out just on your left leg. Start to bring that leg up. It can either be the toes on the floor, onto the lower part of the leg, or up high into the inner thigh. So once it is there, we can just help by drawing back slightly, but keep that foot firmly rooted down. This is where we want to really establish those roots, really feeling grounded on one leg. Push down. So lifting up, pulling up, zipping up. Taking your left arm up towards the ceiling. Bring your right arm up the wall. Turn, so just have the fingernails onto the wall. And then bringing that hand in. Now from there, we're just going to draw the hands in towards the center, she says as she's wobbling. So if you can, with the hands in the Anjali Mudra. And holding there. And then placing the hands down, let the leg come down. Okay. So again, now for the other side. So I'll do it here now so you can see sideways or kind of sideways on. So one hand onto the wall, slightly bent. Feet firmly rooted down. Keep the pulling up, drawing up as much as you can and roll the shoulders back. From there, without a shift in the hips, loosen out on that right leg, turning that leg out to the side. We've worked a lot now to open up in the hips as we've done in the previous standing poses. So now we can start just to bring that leg up, take the foot to the inner thigh, pushing in. We can bring our right arm up into the air, left arm up, turn so the fingernails are just onto the wall. Bring them away when you feel that you're okay with it, or just keep tapping the wall. Bring your hands in if you feel okay with it. It says wobbling all over the place. So, okay, so we're going to have the arms in. We make a bit of a hash up of this one. But again, I need to really get my sense of grounding on here. That's pretty obvious. Okay, so hope you did a little bit better than me. So keep your height as you bring the arms down and you bring the legs down. Just goes to show I'm human, doesn't it? Okay, right, so we're just going to bring it down a little bit now. So ideally, if you've got a wall, use the wall. So with this one, so we're going to have our foot pressing into the wall. So I've got a box here, I'm going to use that so you can see. So get yourself with your feet right up against it and then bring yourself just to lying down. Now from here, from lying flat, so it's like Tadasana, but just lying down. So feet pushing into there, kind of drawing your toes back up a little bit, just up towards the head. Roll your shoulders and your arms and your inner arms and palms facing up. Keep your chin in a little bit. So we are kind of, in effect, we are doing Tadasana, just set from a different angle. Now keep your left foot where it is. Draw your right leg in, take hold and squeezing that leg down. Squeezing it in. So 3 breaths there, and then we're placing that foot back down. Then onto the other side. So drawing the leg up, squeeze it in. And then release it back down. This time we're bringing the leg in, but taking it out slightly to the side. So we draw the leg all the way up, bring it out a little bit more to the side, and we can just keep hold, even just with one hand. If you want the 2, then that's fine. You can squeeze in. Otherwise, just one hand. One can keep pulling down on the opposite hip if you want to. So this is just skimming the side of the body with encouraging the leg just to, or the knee to come towards the armpit. And then release that side down. And then ready for the left side. So we draw in, take it out slightly to the side, either holding on with one hand onto the opposite hip, or both hands if you prefer, just to ease it down. And again, thinking of the knee heading towards the armpit on that side. Just be careful that you're not pulling up too much in the, making the pelvis unlevel. So try and keep as much length through the sides of the body as you can. Okay, and then releasing that leg down. So from here, if you want to move yourself just a little bit away from your wall, and you're drawing your legs in towards the chest. Once you've squeezed in, just keep it so the knees are just level over the hips, straight up, and the legs are out. Arms are going out to the side. We're going to take this into a twist. So a variation on Jatara Parivartanasana. Hang on, I'll say that one again. So Jatara Parivartanasana. Okay, right, so we're going to go to the right side first. So just moving over as you exhale, take the knees just straight over to that right hand side. And then exhale as we come back up. Inhale and exhale, going over to the left side. Keeping both shoulders nice and firmly down towards the ground if we can. And exhale, coming back up. And placing the feet down onto the floor. Okay, so if you want to draw your knees in and then rock, bring yourselves up to sitting. Now we're going to go into Savangasana, into a shoulder stand. If you're not wanting to do a shoulder stand for any particular reason, then by all means rest with your legs up the wall for this one. If you are wanting to do it, or you can always have an alternative of going into Setu Bandha if you want to. So Setu Bandha will show you on a different one. We're not pointing into this one. So if you know the pose, you can go into it. If you are going up into Savangasana, either fold your mat up into 3, or you can take, if you do have 4 blocks, then you're going to grab yourself your 4 blocks. And we're going to make a platform just for those 4 blocks. You can always just place your blanket even over the tops, or you can place your mat to come over it. That's going to go onto there. Okay, now you also need a chair as well, so chair handy. The chair is for when we take our legs over into Halasana. So hopefully that's about where my legs go to. And oh, you may need an extra block or a book or something as your launch pad. So remember that's your launch pad. Now in this we're going to have our belt as well. So your belt is going to go around your arms to keep them in. So we're not going to collapse in our shoulders. Again, just giving us a good firm foundation to be able to root down, to rise up in the pose. So we're going to place that belt on our arms, on there. So my hands are down by the sides. And I'm going to go back so my head is just kind of an inch, my shoulders are about an inch or so in from the edges of the blocks. Okay, legs are going to go over first of all, straight over into Halasana, and then I'm going to take my legs up. So straight over. Once we're there with it, then hands are onto the back, and then my legs are lifting up, stretching up as high up as I can. So hands as high up onto your back as you can. Now the belt is going to stop from the elbows slipping out to the sides, and any unnecessary weight kind of coming down onto the neck. But while you're on a platform of 4 blocks, if you can, then that is also going to help to take the pressure away from the neck. And just to be able to concentrate on kind of really rooting down for us to rise up. So we're just going to take 3 breaths here. Now, after your 3 breaths, flex your feet, let your legs come over again to your support. Keep the feet pushing into the chair. Keep the thighs pushing up towards the ceiling. Keep the hands firmly onto the back. So we keep that lift up through the torso, so we're clearing as much space as possible. Now we can start to take the feet a little bit wider. If it feels okay with it, you may want to bring the feet down. So see if we can get them down. I'm going to move my chair if I can. Probably not going to rock too great. I think I've got it on my mat as well. Oops, I'm going to go. So keeping the legs wide as the feet come down to the floor. So obviously take this to wherever you feel right with it. If you feel a sense of collapsing in the body, then bring the legs up higher. And then got 1 more breath. And then feet back onto the chair. Then taking the feet back up. Okay, keep the height, bend the knees. Let the knees come in towards the face. Release the hands down. Slowly rolling. Bringing the feet all the way down. And just take a moment there. Okay, After your next exhalation, bring yourself back up to sitting. You can slide the belt just away from the body. Now, because you've been up on a few blocks, you'll find that the neck should feel quite nice. It should feel quite free. So the higher you have platform, even if you haven't got a lot of blocks at home, just get a few blankets, just some nice firm blankets and roll them up to build them up to get that lift on your shoulders. Now you're going to need one block for this next one. We're going to do a twist. We're going to use the wall, or you can use a chair or something behind you. So let me just show you first so you can see. So our legs will be going out. We're going to be bringing our right leg up first of all and turning using the wall. So hands onto the wall. Or again, you can always take the hands back and take it onto a chair or something like that. So you're up on a block. This is, again, going to help just to keep a nice bit of length in the spine. Legs are out, a good stretch. So it's a variation on Marishasana 3. Normally we have the legs together with it and we lift up and we take the twist. So this will just help us just to kind of maneuver, just to get round that little bit further. So a really nice kind of after having the legs so straight in the last one. So, and a nice release out as well for the back after being in Halasana. So right leg, bring that leg up. So remember that foot is heading out to the side. My left leg, the leg I'm leaving behind, is stretching out. I'm really pushing into the heel on that leg. Holding onto my right leg at the moment. I'm sat nice and tall. I'm going to bring my right arm up, take it back to the wall. So once it goes back, I can either just keep hold with my left hand, or inhale, taking it up, exhale, bring it over that leg. So once I'm there with it, then I can again just tweak it a little bit more by inhaling, lifting, exhaling, turning. So once we've done our 3 or so breaths, then we can bring ourselves back out of it, taking that leg down. Okay, again, make sure that you sat nice and tall, and then we're ready for the other side. So bringing your left leg up, holding onto that leg, then and I'm charging away with my right leg. So my left arm now, I'm bringing up, I'm taking back. So I've already established quite a good twist here. So I can either keep hold of the leg, or I can inhale, take my right arm up and then bring it down over the leg and work into the twist. Alternatively, if it feels better to keep hold of the leg, then just keep hold. So again, we have our 3 breaths on this side. And then bring it all the way back around. Stretch those legs out. Bring the legs back in together. Be right on the front edge of your block. Now, while you're just on the front edge of your block, I'm just going to turn myself around so you can see me a bit better. So if you imagine, I've just walked to the front edge of my block. Now I'm going to go a little bit further. So bring yourselves forward. Look, can you see what's happening with the block? It's starting to lift. Starting to just tilt. Excuse me. So when it tilts, I'm hardly sat on the block at all. If anything, it's just pulling the flesh back a little bit just on my bum cheeks. So it gives me a good clear run to then come forward. So our hands, I'm just going to place down into the floor. Keep the lift up with squeezing in on my belly. Keep the chest lifting. Keep the thigh bones pressing down. Anything that's touching down onto the ground, push it down even more. Imagine your feet are pushing away. Then inhale, taking the arms up over the head. Exhale as we come forward into Pashimotonasana. So if you're not at the feet, don't worry about it quite so much. I should have probably mentioned if you weren't at the feet, you could have grabbed hold of your belt. Always best just to have it really handy. Okay, so you can always just grab hold and use the belt. Now, even if you are using a belt, you've got to make sure that we're not kind of doing this with the arms. It's going to tense up around your shoulders, and it's going to just kind of work more into brute force coming forward. So if possible, you just want to kind of keep the arms as straight as you can, and you're slowly aiming to come forward. Now, don't worry about how far you come forward. And different times of the day are going to have different effects. Different things that you have going on are going to have different effects on how far you can come forward. When I've worked a little bit more, I can come a bit further forward, depending on what I've done and how much I've been putting into it. Okay, so I'm going to inhale, lengthen forward a little bit more, keep my thighs pressing down, slowly start just to release, to come forward, forward, forward. I'm not pulling myself forward, I'm easing into it. When you get where you feel it's as far as you can comfortably go, then just get the neck to release a little bit. Take a few breaths. Okay, and then inhale, lift the head, lift your chest. Slowly start to come back up. Move your block out of the way. Move your belt out of the way for now. So we're going back into a twist again. This is just going to be our last one. Just if there's anything that you feel is kind of any muscular tension or anything, it's just going to help really release that, but also as well helping to really release and wring out any toxins out of the body. So we're just going to lay ourselves back. You've either got the option of bent legs, so knees up just over your hips with the feet out straight, going over to the side. If you want to take it into the full pose with the legs up, I'm just going to hit the wall here, so I'll move. So I'll have another attempt at the name again. So Jatara Padottanasana. Right then, not one that rolls off my tongue too easy. So I'm going to my right side first. So I'm just going to move my hips over slightly and then stretch out and bring my legs over as you exhale, over towards the hand on that side. I have just nearly hit the wall on that. Okay, so keeping my shoulders down. So we take maybe one breath here. Now, if you need the oomph to come back up, inhale, let one leg come up and then the other leg follow. Otherwise, you can exhale, bringing those legs up. Ready for the other side? So we shift the hips a little bit and then exhale as we go over. And keeping the opposite shoulder down towards the floor. Aim to keep the feet together as much as you can. It's a tricky one. You've really got to stretch out with that top leg. So again, a couple of breaths. And then if you do need the oomph, let one leg come up, the other leg follow. Otherwise, you're exhaling. Legs straight up. Okay, I'm just going to move myself just back onto my mat again, so you can just see. Okay, so I'm up here. Point the toes. And then slowly coming down. Squeeze back through your belly as you're bringing those legs down. Keep the tailbone tucking under, feet coming down to the floor. Push your way through the heels. Bring your hands down by your sides. Then draw your knees in towards the chest. A big squeeze in, a little rock over from side to side. Just rock yourselves up to sitting. Grab whatever you need for Shavasana. So grab yourselves a nice cozy blanket. Wrap it around you so you're wrapped in like a burrito or something like that. Just wrap yourselves up nice and tight. So when the legs are wrapped tight, we feel safe, we feel secure, we feel strong and stable, but also kind of in that nurtured way. So squeezing in and with hands, so imagine that I'm just cocooned in a blanket and just let the feet just release out to the sides. So just let them just fall out to the sides. So if you can imagine, I've got like an invisible blanket just over me at the moment, more cozy, all wrapped in, all together. Chin just drawn in towards the chest. So just getting yourselves all ready for Shavasana. So while you're doing that, I'm just going to bring myself back up. Okay. So just taking this time now just to allow yourself the time just to rest. All the hard work has been done. Time for you just, for the body just to process. During that time, you need to just do simply nothing. So allow the attention on your breathing to help you get to the place of just complete relaxation. So with every exhalation, just allowing the body just to simply melt, to dissolve into the mat. To take up your space on the mat, taking up your space on this earth with a strong sense of I am. I am grounded. I am strong. I am stable. And just simply using the exhalations to allow the body to release, to let go, to dissolve. Complete peace and quiet. The body in a state of equanimity. So if we start just to deepen the breathing now. And take your awareness more to the inhalations. Noticing how it changes the energy in the body. Bringing in light. And start to gently move your fingers, move your toes, move your wrists and your ankles. Draw your knees into the chest. Take a little rock over from side to side. And then rolling over to the right side. And use your left hand to push down, just to bring you back up to sitting. And just joining me back in a seated position with your palms together in the Anjali Mudra. So again, bring the thoughts back of your intention. What it was that brought you to your mat. And just noticing how you feel after the session. So each time we step on the mat, the time closer towards your intention, towards your goal, towards your aims. And think about our mantra of I am. I'm strong, I'm stable, I'm grounded. And think about how that makes you feel. And then to close the session, taking the hands up over the crown. Slowly start to draw the hands down, so we come down towards the Ajna chakra, our intuitive center, our inner knowledge, our wisdom. Come down to the Vishuddha, where we speak our truth and listen well. The Anahata, our center for love and compassion. The Manipura, for our will and our drive. The Svadhisthana, new beginnings, creativity and change. And the Mulandhara, for our strength and our stability. Bring the hands back to the Anahata chakra. And again, the center for love and compassion, for kindness. And always remembering to hold a place there for yourself. And softly open the eyes. Namaste. And thank you for joining me. Okay, so let me know how you get on, and I'll see you next time.